Hello and welcome to another episode of the It's Just a Hill Cycling Podcast. We are back. We're talking about the tour. I'm John Stenning. I'm here with BSP, Norlan Olivo. How are you guys? Welcome back.
Thank you for welcoming us back.
I guess if it isn't obvious, we are on the internet as opposed to being in person. So any sort of awkwardness that we normally have when all three of us are in the same room, it's just been sort of multiplied because we're over the internet.
It's heightened.
We might talk over each other a little bit, or in some cases, maybe no one will talk. But, before we get started, I do want to say that where we are in the tour right now, I think Visma are just like absolute hacks. I think we need to free Sepp. I think we need to free Matteo Jorgensen. I think we need to bring the Tour de France back to America, okay? Friggin' Jorgensen's riding up the hill for Jonas, who has no personality. You got to be shitting me over here. The Jonas guy, he needs to have more fun, okay? He needs to smile more, and he needs to make sure that he's just as charismatic as Tadej Pogacar, because Tadej Pogacar is the next friggin' Eddie Merckx, not Remco Evenepoel. And let's bring the Tour back. Let's get Lance back into cycling. Let's bring the Tour back to America. We got a free Sepp. We got to make Lance a DS again and bring the Tour back to America.
I like Lance.
Free, you like Lance? Oh no, we can't.
Like as a cyclist. I mean, I don't think
exciting to watch. Very exciting to watch.
Yeah. I don't think he did anything wrong. He was the biggest asshole ever, but
Yeah. No, he was.
Well, at least you can admit it,
Yeah. He can't apparently, but that's the problem. Okay, so the bit's over, by the way. I think I still love Visma, and even though Le Tour is kind of over as we're recording this episode, right? Because we're on I think the Tour. Great question. Is that where you want to start?
Let's start there. Let's do it.
Do we think the Tour is over, Norlan? You immediately questioned me saying that. I want to hear your opinion.
So I think there was a lot of talk about UAE as a team and them being the super team that Visma was in the past, and now they're just running away with it and whatever. But it seems like the fatigue is setting in, and it seems like a lot of people were just talking about how they're using their teammates. They're just every day it's work. Yeah. We're just burning y'all. We're just killing y'all. We're just blow up, and then I'll do the rest. And I started to wonder if that would fatigue them and affect the way that they worked together. And I think today was one of the first days where it was this could be kind of interesting. I don't think that it matters because Tadej just seems to have, I guess, he's in the best shape of his life ever. So it kind of doesn't matter. He'll just follow wheels like he did today and then just take over. But I think it is interesting to see what'll happen as the Tour, this final kind of week. But I think you're right. If it's not going to happen in the next one or two mountain stages, forget it. It's just done.
Now, today was stage 15. Is that right? We're recording this on the evening of stage 15, right before the rest day. And as of now, Pog is in the lead by 3 minutes. So it was 2 minutes going into the stage. You put another minute into Jonas. I guess that's sort of where I'm coming from. That I'm still interested. It's always the third week of any Grand Tour starts, and I start getting a little sad because I know it's coming to a close, So I think it's a little bit of that as well. But Brian, what do you think after having watched today, right? Visma put in a hell of an effort today. They really, really controlled quite a bit. And what did you think?
I mean, Visma was, out there controlling all day, and it sucks because that's just the way the day had to be, given that Tadej was already in the lead by 2 minutes. So Visma had to be the one doing the pace.
I think they're really missing. I think they're missing Sepp.
They are missing Sepp.
Yeah,
for sure. But I think it feels like it's over to me, especially given the minute that Tadej put in today.
Right.
But it just sucks that Visma had to do so much today, because then they were essentially, by the time that last climb started, it was just Jorgensen working for Jonas. And then,
I guess,
you knew as soon as Jonas took over, he can only do that for so long before Tadej's going to pounce. Tadej was not in the wind for any minute the entire day.
Right.
Until he jumped out to attack Jonas. So it was.
I got a question, actually, that you just said that. Because I sometimes be confused. So Tadej wasn't in the wind at all today, right? he was like third, fourth, fifth wheel at times, like most of the way. So in that sense, I feel like that happens to Jonas all the time.
Yeah, it does. He's very protected.
When there's like 4 UAE people, and then it's like Tade, and then it's like 2 Visma, and then it's Jonas.
Yeah.
So it's like, why? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's like whenever it's Tade that's like riding wheels and chilling, it's like he saves it and he's gone. When it's Jonas, it's like,
yeah. I mean, I just think they're on
anyway.
such.
Like,
I think they're on such different form. You know.
Yeah.
I just think and it's interesting because like mathematically, the tour's not over, right? 3 minutes. Last year, Jonas put 7 minutes into Pog in 2 stages, but that was he was on a different form, right? This motherfucker broke his ribs and had punctured lungs, and he's in second place in the tour. There are people that are actually saying what I said earlier when I was waving that flag, that they think like Jonas has no balls. This guy, are you shitting me? He's still like beating Remco by a minute and a half. What he's doing is phenomenal. It's just that he happens to be racing at the same time as, they're both generational talents, but Pog didn't crash, right? Pog crashed last year. It was different. He broke a wrist and he was on the trainer a lot sooner, but it really messes with your year, you know? And so I don't think I think it's been a really fun tour. I hope it's not over. I guess there's always still the chance that the Alps are still to come. There's still mountain stages. And if Pog gets dropped, I just think that's such a big if. If Pog gets dropped by Jonas, can he put that much time in between a few mountain stages and potentially a hilly TT performance? Sure. It's not that I'm going to stop watching. It's not that I'm not as excited, but I was hoping, I guess, going into today's stage that at least would be not another minute in the direction of the victor. Even though, I predicted Pog to win. The year of Pog, I'm all for it, but I just wanted to be a little bit closer. It still has been super exciting. We talked about it last time. It's been a super exciting tour. It's been legendary.
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like it's stayed pretty close.
Yeah.
Longer into the tour than it has in other years.
Sure.
For other top threes, So it has been very exciting. I'll give it that for sure.
Let's talk about some of the other highlights, some of there's been a lot of fun stuff. There's also been some nasty stuff. I want to talk about some of the nasty stuff. Did you guys see that guy throwing potato chips? Potato chips. Fuck? So this guy threw potato chips. For those of you who don't know, when Pog was going up the final climb on stage 14, and he threw them also at Jonas. This person has been found and is being prosecuted. I read a translated French article today that they are fining this person, and he spent a night in the drunk tank because, yes, he was absolutely hammered, and he went to trial. He was in front of a judge earlier today. So
wow.
Yeah. What is the charge even? Like what?
It was something disorderly conduct, like in public or something like that. Their rules are a little bit different than ours, but yeah.
Did they say how much the fine was?
No, I didn't. The article that I read said that he hadn't been finally charged. Like they hadn't come to a verdict yet. He spent a night in the drunk tank, and he was about to see the person. He was about to see a judge today, but yeah, that was that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, what do we think about fans on the side of the road in cycling, Brian? Like, it's a big part of the sport, but they get way too fucking close. They're lighting flares in people's faces. It sucks.
Yeah, I think the fan enthusiasm on the side of the roads and all that hype they provide is one of the best things to see.
Yeah.
In cycling.
Yeah.
But it just is so frustrating when we're watching it on TV and we see people that are there that have the privilege of, either being able to travel to that area or live in that area, and they can go see this in person. And then you have, a few individuals acting up and doing such disrespectful and potentially very dangerous things to these riders. And I'm frustrated by it. I think it's fucking annoying.
Yeah, Norlan, what do you think? Someone else pushed Pog yesterday. They pushed him on the back, they think they're helping. Imagine if you pushed the guy who's leading the Tour de France over.
Yeah.
Don't Like we know, don't we know that you're not supposed to touch people? Don't touch people. If they don't want to be touched, they're not
It's
asking.
just
Don't
like
do it.
constant. I would imagine that the two things I thought about was like if you're in a cadence and you're in a pace and someone like pushes you and you like break concentration now because
Yeah.
you're like pacing. And then the other thing that I think is the flare because you're like huffing and puffing. So it's like you're like breathing in like flare smoke. That seems like the case. And obviously like touching them and throwing chips at them is insane. But I think it's one of those things that when it's bad, and when nothing happens, it's like a beautiful thing to see. Like when they're like partying up a climb, that's one of the most. I can't imagine like as a cyclist being up there. They probably hate it, but they also probably like, wow, I'm never gonna do anything like this ever again unless I do the tour again. Like it's just one of those things where it's like when it's bad, and when it's great, it's great. But I don't even know how you would like. How would you stop?
I mean, you put barriers up, right? You put barriers up, but how long can you actually put barriers up, right? That takes a lot of manpower, personnel, right? Yeah, right. You could remember last year there was the Puy de Dôme stage where they closed off. There were no fans on the side, and which is a little bit like weird and eerie. It reminds me of like COVID era racing. I think honestly, I think you nailed it. When it's bad, it's bad. But when it's great, it's one of the most beautiful things in sports is a rider parting the sea of fans. But everyone just has to be respectful, right? And unfortunately, I mean, think about doing the effort of your life, right? The numbers came through, Pog's power numbers came through for stage 14. And like adjusted for elevation, it was something like 7.1 watts per kilogram for about 25 minutes.
My God.
It was absolutely a monster performance.
He broke records.
He broke records on that climb. He broke records that have been held for like quite some time. So you're doing, imagine his max heart rate is 190 to who knows? He's an absolute freak. His heart is going like that, right? And then someone pushes you or throws like chips in your face. And it just really is like, I think about it. I'm like, why do they do this? But there's no logic to that person.
No, there's no logic. I can't imagine that person woke up that morning and was like, yeah, I have this plan. I'm going to throw chips in their face. Like, it's just like, imagine that atmosphere. I mean, and I can only imagine it. I've never been in that setting, but like all these people, whatever, they rode their bikes up or they took a tram or whatever up and they're hanging out on this beautiful climb. Everyone's drinking and partying all day, waiting for the riders to come up. And you get someone that's hammered and they're beyond thinking and they just do something like that. And there's no reasoning for it.
It sucks.
What was I going to say? 2 questions with the record breaking thing. One, does that include any of those riders that got like kind of popped or like banned?
I don't think so. I think once they're popped, they're sort of struck from the record books, I think.
Okay. And then 2, do you guys find any of that strange? There was a lot. Like if you go to any comments, especially after today's stage, which I didn't really found at all in any of the stages, except for maybe Jonas's TT last year, where people were like, he's on something. But today, a lot of people were in the comments being like, gotta be on something. He's breaking all the records. There's just no way. And I was like,
yeah, so I guess I have 2 big things to say about that. The first one is like, I think speculation is toxic. I think it's just like fucking toxic as hell, right? And so like in general, and so like just to speculate about that. And I think another thing, and someone who used to be on the podcast a lot, Cal, would say, he said this to me once and it really stuck with me, was just because people are winning does not mean that that's evidence of doping, right? Like people are going to win no matter what, where they're putting on the race and people are going to win. And so I choose not to speculate because if they're doping, they're probably all doping. And if they're not, then they're not. And we're witnessing greatness. But like, I can't hold on to that anxiety of like, then why the fuck am I watching it? That's what I think. Like, if I think they're doping, why the fuck am I watching it? That doesn't make it fun for me, So I choose I personally choose not to speculate. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, honestly, I do try not to speculate because I think have the same feelings as you, where like if I truly thought and harped on it,
Yeah.
and just really thought they were doping, then yeah, what's the point of watching?
But Norlan, you're right. It's all over the comments. I mean, it's all people talk about it, and it's a cloud over the sport. I mean, it has been a cloud over the sport since Lance, and even since before Lance. Like Marco Pantani was doing cocaine as a performance-enhancing drug and crushing it. And as far as I'm concerned,
that's crazy.
Give him the fucking yellow jersey.
Let him have it.
Let him fucking have it, dude. That guy's partying and winning stages. That's different than EPO or like testosterone. I'm not condoning anything here, but Marco Pantani's a legend, an absolute fucking legend. And I still think he is. I don't care. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
no, I just think it's interesting because people are like, well, if one of them's doping, then they're all doping. I just think it's interesting that the strange sort of like nuance around the issue. Like, it's like, well, if he's doping, then they're all doping. And it's like, well, but Lance was doping and Pantani. And I just like, well, pick a side already, cycling fans. It's like, oh my God. It's like, it's almost like they, I don't know.
I would say if I had to make a choice, I would say no, they're not doping. And if they are, I don't know. I just like, I will just, because I like to think that, and everyone's like, oh, well, they're breaking records. But like, I also think that there's so much, but this also just seems like an excuse, right? But there's so much advancements in cycling science, in sports science, right? The amount of carbs you can take in an hour, how important recovery is. You know what I mean? Like, just like I heard someone talk on our group.
Even bikes, like literally clothing,
everything, clothing, everything, right? Has been dialed, especially for these super teams that have these huge budgets like UAE, Visma, all those big teams, even Ineos, right? Is that like, I don't know. Am I just being ignorant? I guess maybe, but I'm okay being ignorant about this. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it's not like the records are being shattered every single race. It's just like, so that to me kind of helps the case of the generation of just like, things are just dialed in, and then you have a good day and things gets broken, and that's fine.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
One other nasty thing, there seems to be a lot of COVID going around, right? I mean, a lot of guys have dropped out because of COVID, a lot of people wearing masks. I mean, famously, we know, Norlan, you and I, we've never had it, so obviously we're rolling our eyes at it. We don't even think it's real.
Yeah, Brian, tell us, why are we getting COVID?
Why are these people getting COVID? Why are they wearing masks? It's 2024, dude. COVID's over.
Sorry, I was muted because my dog was barking. It's okay. Well, I heard that if you wear the mask, you just infect yourself worse.
Oh, is that true?
No, not at all.
You really didn't run with that. You gave that a whole second.
No, like I was saying before the pod, I'm not an improv specialist.
Okay. I never.
But I don't know, man. This sucks with the COVID and they said it's like COVID and stomach bug going around, and you hate to see it. Like we talked about before when Remco, went out of the Giro last year because he had COVID, and it's just like, you always want these things to be a fair fight, and you want it all to be fair, and the winner to really have proven themselves against everyone that started the race with them. And if everyone just keeps dropping like flies, then it's just sad. And obviously you feel bad for everybody because it's just a sad thing, and they work so hard to be there, and all around it sucks. But
did you guys see the funniest dropout story for me? Which it's not, none of it's funny, but the funniest one was they're interviewing Cav, and they're like, Cav, so what's the deal with Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo? And then he tells the story about his daughter, and then he's like, can you sing it for me? And he's singing it, and he's like, Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, and then he's smiling, he's like, and then the interviewer's like, so what do you think about your teammate dropping out? Like, just like immediately blast him with that question, and just like change the mood. I was like,
I didn't see that part. I saw the Bibbidi Boppity Boo thing. I saw that. That was actually, Cav was kind of endearing talking about his daughter and stuff, and it was weird to see him with a personality.
Don't let him fool you.
You don't like Cav either?
I definitely don't love him. But you know what? Honestly, though, that's funny. I agree.
Too late.
Sorry, the Zoom was cutting you off. I didn't hear what you said.
No, did I miss something? Did I get to the sport too late and you guys just hated him before?
I have hated Cav for quite some time. I've seen him throw bikes at his bike mechanics because like his saddle height isn't dialed in appropriately. And I just think he's an absolute jackass.
I mean, I came into the sport only like 4 years ago, like watching pro stuff and just like looking into Cav and seeing old footage of him, like even in like press room interviews, just like yelling and swearing at people and everything. It's just like clearly he had when he was younger, he had quite a temper. It was a hothead. Yeah. And
I think he knows it though. Actually, I've seen him be pretty humble and self-reflective. Lately, I have, and that's what I mean. Like he's been more endearing lately.
Yeah,
maybe now that the weight is off his shoulders, that he has the record. Even though Pog's coming for that fucking record.
Well, yeah, that's an aspect too. Is like once he got it, really relax a bit and be a little different. But it wasn't as stressed out, But sometimes he is super endearing, and he is like very honest in interviews too. And then the way he hugs people as well is very specific, and I don't love it. But that's not a reason for me to dislike him so much. I just find it a little weird. He's a polarizing guy.
He is a polarizing guy. I mean, he's a legend. I really do think
he's a legend.
He better
I'm not trying to take anything away.
I don't want to watch him anymore. I'm done watching.
It's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Yeah.
He's not.
Any other I want to talk about the mustache saga that's happening. Jonas is growing a mustache.
People say it is not personable. I'm like, it was hilarious. That whole thing was he was
dude, he's so good about it. In that interview with Anders Milka, and they're like, so Jonas, your mustache, and he like rubs his chin, and it's like 5 hairs.
What was the phrasing that was he said, yes, I don't know if how do you say it? My capabilities.
Yes.
He's talking about the mustache.
His mustache capabilities. Yeah.
And then he was talking about how his wife, he's got to shave it by the end when his wife gets there because she's not gonna like kissing him.
And now, have you heard about the Magnus Cort mustache saga?
No.
So Magnus Cort, he has a great mustache, and they've been interviewing him. Him and Jonas are, both Danish, so they're, they know each other. And Magnus Cort recently went on his Instagram, and someone coaxed him into saying if he had reached like a certain amount of followers on Instagram by like the rest day, which is, tomorrow, that he would dye his mustache. Well, he reached those followers in like an hour. And according to Magnus Cort, he is going to be dyeing his mustache blue on the rest day.
That's fire.
And it's going to be blue. And so we'll see what that looks like when he goes into breakaway. But I think I love him so much. We've been talking about Victor Campenarts too. These just like very funny people. They have like great Instagrams. Magnus is he reviews hotels. He's been doing it for a couple of years now. And he was recently in a hotel like before the post stage, stage 14, that had like all mold on the inside of it, and he was like dragging this place. So,
oh my god!
Yeah, I think that's a lot of fun. Anything else, you guys? Oh, Primo's out of the tour. I think that's pretty big. That's a pretty big thing.
Bummer.
And Benny pretty much has green in the bag as long as he stays on the bike. But that's super exciting.
And they took points away from him? I didn't understand. I didn't see it.
Yeah, today.
At the
sprint point.
With somebody who wasn't even in the running, like at all. He did they said that Benny blocked him, and it's like, bro.
It was
the whole thing.
I didn't know that.
Dude, it was frustrating because that front group coming up was what's his name on Intermarché?
So it's Louis Meintjes.
Yeah, Meintjes.
Yeah.
And then Louis Meintjes is leading them out for that sprint. And obviously he assumes no one is going to be challenging him for it because why would they? And then Michael Matthews comes up right behind him. And I just truly, I think that Benny did not know that he was there. And Benny pulled off from Menkes to just kind of cut the corner to the sprint and just cut off Michael Matthews. And it's just like, well, yeah, why would Michael Matthews be there and do that? So, but luckily it was just the three of them. So when Benny got relegated, he only got relegated to third for the sprint. So he still got like 15.
He got 15 points instead of Michael Matthews got 20 and Menkes got 17.
Yeah,
man, Michael Matthews, I bet he has a DS in his ear yelling at him because Jaco has had a shit season. Yeah. Absolute shit season, right? Caleb Ewan had no wins at the Giro. They basically Simon Yates has had a couple of good climbing performances, but they haven't. Oh, Grunewagen's on Jaco, right? He won a stage. So that's decent. They did win a stage. One. Yeah. But Michael Matthews, he's an interesting rider because he can go for sprints a lot, but he's more like one of those classic guys, almost like a Wout type of rider, but not as much of like a diesel engine. He's an interesting character. I like Michael Matthews enough.
I don't dislike Michael Matthews, but
I trying to gobble up some points, huh?
Yeah, afterwards when I was thinking about it, I'm like, he probably had someone in his ear telling him that he's got to go for it. To
you got to show the jersey, or something. Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Can we possibly go through since we did the last podcast?
Yeah.
Who won the stages since then? I feel like
let's do it.
All the stages weren't hype, but I feel like the only stage that I feel like to go really in depth to is just that banger stage, that like big mountain stage where
that Jonas won on the sprint.
My god!
So let's do it. Let's go. Stage 10 was Jasper's win. So that was the first one after the first rest day. Whatever, Jasper wins. Who cares? Let's move on. Stage 11 was the Jonas win, right? So that was when Pog attacked, with 500 meters from the summit. Jonas got dropped, but he kept powering through. He hung on to the wheel. That was the first time that we saw Jonas actually be, being like, oh, he's here,
Yeah, and him and Roglic, I had flashbacks. I was like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
They're
riding together.
They're riding together.
Yeah, Primoz ended up getting dropped, right, in Jonas Bridges. And then, I think, and sort of the rumors that are going around, I guess, whatever, Twitter or that Pog wasn't eating properly that day, right? That was also the same day that, he was asking for a bottle from neutral support, but he didn't want it till he got to the top of the climb because, he didn't want to carry the extra weight. And
I didn't know that.
Getting bottles from neutral support is always different, right? Because I'm sure Pog's drink mix is down to the teaspoon, right? So, that was the one where Pog didn't get up out of the saddle to sprint, and Jonas beat him at the line. And Jonas has never beat Pog at the line, and they were also relaying back and forth, which was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, that was a really exciting, final 5K or whatever it was. To see, it was probably even longer than that. Because when Jonas attacked and came up, it was just you rarely see him confident in that way, especially with a one-on-one against Tadej. So to see him come up and not just sit on Tadej's wheel, and to immediately go in front of him, and then they were trading places. It was really nice to see. But how Tadej had to sit down in that final sprint, you could tell something was off.
Something was off. Yeah.
Which it sucks to say. It sucks to say because you want Jonas to win fair and square, but then to have that.
No, but that's fair and square.
That's fair and square, but
that's racing over 3 weeks. You have bad days, fair and square, right? But you're gonna have days where your legs aren't. I mean, right? We've all experienced days where you might be ready to ride, but you're just oh, my legs just aren't doing it today, right? I mean, it happens to them too, and I think that's sort of why it is right. I mean, I don't know if I said this before we were recording or not. I think maybe I did, but I heard someone say it was Caleb Ewan or something. No, not Caleb Ewan. Robbie McEwen. Sorry, get my Aussies confused. And he said that not only is it a cycling competition, but it's also an eating and sleeping competition, right? And that recovery is important, and what you do on the rest day is important, going and spinning your legs and having just a relaxing day, right? So I mean, who knows what was going. I mean, obviously Pog's okay now, right? So
the strategy was interesting that day too, because the UAE they lost. It was 30K to go. It wasn't they lost even way before the last little climb. So I feel that was a big part of it too. They either blew up early or they got the strategy a little bit mixed up, and then it just gave more time for the other riders to come back. Like
true.
if they'd have done that on the last climb, then I think maybe it doesn't even come down to a sprint, probably. I don't know.
No, you're right. Yeah.
Also, and then when Tade attacked first, it was pretty damn early, and I think he might have just blew up a little bit. Like he did.
I think it was testing him. Yeah, sure. Maybe he's trying to test Jonas a little bit. Yep.
He didn't need to kind of go that hard, and I think he might have blew himself up a little bit, and that allowed Jonas to come back more. But
that was probably the most hyped stage, I think, before these weekend stages, right? So next stage was stage 12. This is when Binny got his third win. This is also Wout gets second again here. Arnaud Demar was relegated for basically putting his shoulder right into Wout, and there was sort of a little bit of drama for that.
Yeah.
This is also the stage that Primoz crashes in. So Primoz crashes with 12Ks to go. He finishes the stage, on a turn. A couple other riders avoid it, but he hits some road furniture. He goes down. He busts up his shoulder, and he finishes the stage. But he doesn't start the next day.
Oh man, that crash was so unfortunate because it's one of those things where it's like it seemed like the race organizers should have done a better job of pointing out those medians in the road, and I don't even think Primoz hit anything. He just got caught up someone's wheel in front of him because of the chain effect or whatever. But then actually when I was watching replays of that crash, Mathieu van der Poel had an amazing save. He luckily slammed on his brakes enough where he was able to push himself into a bush, and then the bush held him up.
His bike handling is unreal. Have you guys seen that video where he gets on his bike when he's standing up and he jumps onto the saddle?
Yeah, just jumps.
Oh yeah.
Crazy.
You ever tried
crazy? That? Yes. Have you tried it?
Yeah.
It's so hard.
Not so gracefully, but I've definitely gotten on my bike with pulling it, my body over it like that. But not in the jump all in one movement. No.
Yeah, he's clipping in and not stopping and just keeping his momentum, but feathering the rear brake so the bike doesn't slam down, but his weight distribution is say what you want about him. He's throwing girls around hotel hallways left and right. But
so why do you not like him?
He did that. He threw girls. What do you mean? Why don't I listen?
Here's the Cav story. What's the Van der Poel story?
Well, first of all, Van der Poel is on the most evil team, and he is a part owner of that team. So
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
So that whole team, I just think is bad. And also during Worlds in 2022, he was being ding dong ditched by some 13-year-old girls. And he opened up the door and chased them into their room, went into their room and hovered over them. And there's a video of it. And it's fucking scary. It's fucking scary. Yes.
That's crazy.
He went into their room?
Yes. He follows them into the room.
Oh, wow. I thought it was just in the hallway.
No, I'm pretty sure. I mean, let's just, because I did a little bit of comedy. I did a little bit of comedy earlier, so we can call this parody. This isn't a defamation case or anything. But I'm fairly certain he puts his foot in the door so their door can't shut and takes a step into the room and they're down on the ground.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I'd be so mad.
I feel like I'm learning more details of this every time we bring it up.
Well, I'm continuing to research it. I want to know the whole entire story. I need to know everything about this guy.
Every week, just a little bit more comes out.
Yeah, exactly. Also,
you have Google alerts set up for it?
Yeah, I have Google alerts. He's Wout's rival. Another reason not to like him. I just don't like the guy. Yeah.
It's true.
That's true. And they've been rivals since they were kids, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think villains are good, Norlan, you watch a little bit of Survivor. Villains are good. When Survivor doesn't have villains, wow, what a reference. When Survivor doesn't have villains, it sucks. Johnny Fairplay, baby. Okay, no more Survivor.
Well, we're talking about that rivalry between, Wout and Mathieu van der Poel, that made me think of Pidcock, who also is a withdrawal.
Yes, he is a withdrawal. Yes. But that's okay. He's got the Olympics coming up, and maybe he can focus on one thing after he wins Olympic gold. Hopefully he wins Olympic gold in mountain bike and road cycling or something, and then he can just focus on one thing. Because I think, it's wild. I think he's so good. I love Pidcock. I love him, but I wish he would just focus on one thing, I think, selfishly.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay,
next-
next stage 14. No, wait, do we do stage 13? No, stage 13 is Jasper wins again. Not talking about this. There were some fun echelons, but it came down to just a sprint, and Jasper won.
Yeah.
Sorry, in 13, this was the stage with the big crash at the end, where the guy hit the Archaea guy in the shoulder and caused a big crash for the final sprint.
No, that's
Was that 12?
I think that's 12. Yeah, that's 12. Arnaud Demar.
My bad.
Who's
My bad.
yeah, Archaea. Yep.
Well,
yeah.
Lotto.
I don't know. Teams that they're just I don't know. I really don't know. Arnaud Demar is on Archaea now, isn't he?
We're talking about the one when the Lotto guy was trying to lead out.
You brought it up, my man. I don't know what
it.
you're talking about.
No, Arnold is Lotto, I believe.
Yeah, he was trying to lead out.
I believe
he was trying to lead out the Lee.
Oh, the Lee is Lotto.
And he hit the Archaea guy, and then it caused the big holdup.
All right. Well, since you asked,
But anyway,
Arnaud Demar is on Archaea.
okay, is he the one that got hit?
He is the one that got
Arnold that's on Lotto.
Arnaud Delis is the Belgian.
These guys.
Arnaud Delis is the Belgian national champion. He
Yeah.
rides for Lotto on an
So many
Orbea.
names.
Yes. Arnaud Demar, he rides for Archaea B&B, and he was the one who was relegated on stage 12.
Can I say something funny?
That's all I have written down.
Whoa.
About confusing names.
Yeah.
What stage was it? It was some stage where Remco Evenepoel
Mhm.
was like leading by minutes, and I was like waking up early, like looking at my phone. I was like, I just heard Evenepoel breakaway, and I was like, why did they let Matthew Vanderpool up in the breakaway? But I was like, that's not right.
Oh, like Evenepoel and Vanderpool.
Yeah, I just like heard Pole, and I was like, what the fuck are they doing? Oh my god, this is crazy right now. They let him in, but obviously not.
Sorry, I'm held up on that relegation from that final sprint of 12. Was the Archaea guy the one relegated because they said he went off his line and then caught, so that when the Lotto guy was coming up, it caught the Lotto guy? Because I thought they relegated the Lotto lead out man that came in and hit the Archaea guy from behind.
All I know is Arnaud Demar was relegated on stage 12.
All right.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You.
You're killing me. You're killing me. I was ready to move on to stage 14.
Yeah, let's do it.
12. 14. This was a mountain. Was this a mountain stage? Yeah, it was a mountain stage, and the break tried to go for like all day.
Bro.
Oh yeah, Ben Healy.
Ben Healy with his head cocked to the side like an owl.
And Carapaz was there, wasn't he?
Yeah, Carapaz was there today.
Enrique
too.
Mas.
Moss dropped a little bit early yesterday. David Gaudu was up there a little bit. I remember at one point it was Gaudu and Healy, and Healy like did a push. He like stood up, and Gaudu literally like he's just like nope, like he could not follow. He shook his head. That was a lot of fun to watch.
But Gaudu got that got like the big climb.
Did he get the Tourmalet? He got the Tourmalet $5,000 bonus.
Yeah, he got it. So France is having a good tour for themselves.
They are having a good tour. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so they're not. How do you feel about the statement you said last time?
I already said I took it back.
Oh, you didn't? Sorry.
I said I took it back after the Bardet one, and then Vocalon won stage 2. I apologize to all of France publicly.
Yeah, and then the Total Energies guy, Total Energy,
Turgis before this rest. Yeah, I'm sorry, France, but I still think Gaudu's a fraud.
Also, that stage was kind of crazy because the way UAE launched, and they sent Adam Yates.
That was fun.
Away, and then
that was fun.
That was very cool.
Satellite rider and Pog attack to him.
Yeah, that was very cool.
Yeah, Jonas couldn't quite counter, and Visma burned out a lot of their guys pretty early on that stage too. Like Kelderman was done early. Jorg's been having a great tour, but still, I mean, it's hard. We said it earlier, but they are missing Sepp. I think if Sepp were there, I'm not saying Jonas would be in yellow, but if Sepp were there, it could be a little bit different. I mean, he's so good at that.
Closer.
So good at that. Yeah.
Did you see Adam's interview after, as he finished? No. And they asked him what happened. And he's like, yeah, I don't know. Todd just came up next to me, told me to go, so I went.
Yeah.
He's
I
like,
saw
I was trying to like hold my effort a little bit longer, but you know, he told me to go, so I went, and I held it as long as I could, and then he just came by me, and that was it.
Yeah, it was cool. I saw Pog say it was not the plan. He was like, it was not the plan. It was spur of the moment. We didn't really think about it, but he was. I mean, that's the thing. Like, man, Pog loves to race. You know, he really loves to fucking race, and I think that's such a big reason why I love watching him. You know, he just,
yeah, he's exciting.
Yeah, he's exciting. And then stage 15, which was today, and Pog puts in another minute. You know, Visma controlled a lot more today, but like we said, just didn't necessarily have it.
Mateo is such a beast. He pulled like it seemed like the entire race until like the last time. It was absolutely crazy. I was like, sometimes some of these guys, like that was the other thought that I had. It's like sometimes these guys, like even like obviously the UAE team, but I'm like, man, imagine if all these guys were just on different teams. Like, did you just
if you spread them out a little bit more?
You see what I'm saying? Then it would be like 8 people climbing in different jerseys. That would be insane. But then maybe like it doesn't even get that far because they all need each other to like
to work together. Yeah,
but that guy is a beast.
Like Niels Pollitt yesterday, same thing. Niels Pollitt, what a hell of a ride! What a pickup by UAE. He was crushing like those flat or even just like, you know, false flat type of sections. And they really, UAE made a Visma destroyer. You know, they really put together a team to destroy Visma and, you know, Jonas not having the best, you know, lead up in terms of training. I think, you know, those are just a perfect combo. Yeah.
To what Norlan was just saying about ideally spreading more riders to other teams.
Yeah.
This year is a little bit like that with all the trades that happened with like
I agree.
Primo's going to
more
Red
spread
Bull
than last year.
And then even talking specifically about Jorgensen, like he was on Movistar up until this year and he couldn't shine in that way on Movistar because of who else was on that team.
Yep.
And now he's on Visma and he can be sort of that shining lead up man right now, especially since Sepp isn't there as well.
Yeah.
So it is a little bit getting there.
Yeah, I mean, he won Paris-Nice and he came second in Dauphiné. I mean, he's had a great year. Free Matteo Jorgensen, get him off that team, get him on the friggin' American team, EF or something. Get him back here on the Stars and Stripes soil and have him friggin' riding on a Trek. You know what? Oh, I don't even want to talk about him, but I don't know if I just talked enough shit about about the other guy that's on Trek that we don't say his name on the podcast.
I was going to say, are you bringing him up?
He has not been around, and it's been great.
Yeah, what's going on?
I don't know.
No, you know what?
I don't care. Fuck off. Yeah. We'll tell you off the pot. We'll tell you off pod.
All right. I know. More rider hatred.
Yeah.
Honestly,
this guy deserves it. This guy deserves it more than anyone. That's why we won't say his name, Norlan.
Oh.
I always end up bleeping his name if we say it. So, but we're not even going to say it. Right. So, do people call Jorgensen a spud?
Why? Because he's from Idaho? Are you trying to make that up?
Yeah, like he's a stud, but he's a spud.
I like that. Jorgensen the spud. Okay.
Let's start it.
Can I make a shirt?
Yeah, make a shirt.
A little potato head that's Matteo Jorgensen.
Free the spud.
Free the spud.
Free the spud. Reset.
That's quite a dad joke.
Yeah, that was pretty good. No, but I do think it's been an exciting tour. I'm looking forward to the rest. Rest days always have me looking for something else to do, but yeah, it's been pretty exciting. I would like to play a trivia game with you guys real quick if you've got a little bit of time. Okay, cool. So we played a similar trivia game last year during the tour, right? The tour obviously has a lot of history. It goes back to the early 1900s. And I'm going to ask both of you some trivia questions. Each person will get a chance to answer for each question. We will swap back and forth who gets to answer first. And it'll be an over-under scenario. Okay. So like, for example, every question, the answer will be a number, right? And so if the question is like, what is the record for number of tour stage wins by an individual in their career? Right. We know the answer is Cav at 35. Brian, if you were to guess 30, Norlan, you would say over or under, right? So it's an over-under scenario. Brian, are you pulling up Google to ask these questions?
What?
Brian, close Chat GPT. I can't be doing trivia games with people on the internet.
Siri, get ready.
Okay, so right, does that make sense? Do you guys have any questions before we get started?
No.
Norlan, would you like to go first or second?
Oh yeah. No, I'll go second.
You'll go second. Okay. So Brian, Norlan, you still get to say over or under. But Brian, the question is, what year was the first Tour de France held? What year was the first tour, Brian?
It's like 1894.
1894 is your guess. Norlan, over or under?
I think it's under, just slightly. He looks so goofy.
You think it's under, meaning before 1894?
Yeah, why not? It'd just be funny. I just imagine like people with twirly mustaches.
No, it's over. The answer is over. It was 1903. 1903 was the first tour.
That was pretty close.
You know, if Cal listens to this,
yeah.
Hi, Cal. You're going to be upset with my lack of knowledge retention from us doing this before and you saying all of this cycling.
Well, there's not all the same exact questions, Brian.
No, I know, but like
the whole trivia game.
If there was overlap,
it's just if there was any overlap. So
I knew it was over. I just, for the record, I just thought it was funny to imagine. What's
he knew it was over, but he said under.
Interesting strategy for the game. Yeah.
What's the race for they have like the big wheels up front?
A penny farthing. Yeah.
And then some of them are wearing bike kits and some of them are wearing suspenders in the race. Sidebar, but I love that.
Wool jerseys and stuff. Yeah.
It's so silly.
All right, Brian, you'll get the first stab at this one. So how long was the longest stage ever of the tour? I will accept miles, but I will resent you for it. Yes, thank you. Boo.
Wait. I'm sorry.
The longest stage.
Do I go first on this one?
Yes, you will go first on this one. No, did you? Oh no, I'm sorry. Norlan goes first on this one. Yep, my bad.
Boo. All right.
And Brian, you will say over or.
And I say over under.
Yeah. So Norlan, how long was the longest stage ever of the tour?
272 kilometers.
272. Okay, Brian, over or under?
Over.
Over is right. It was 482 kilometers.
Damn.
Just shy of 300 miles. They do not do that anymore.
When's the last time it was even close to being?
I don't know. I do know that they used to they instead of having like the transfers, like they would just ride the transfers. So like that was why those stages were so long, was because like they needed to start in another town the next day and they just didn't drive, So they were actually just like riding the whole circumference essentially of France. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Wild. All right. So that point also went to BSP. Brian, you'll get the first stab at this one. What year was the first tour broadcast on television?
Broadcast on television.
Tour on TV. What year was that?
I have to give an exact year. Let's say, actually just doing over under anyway. Let's say something like 1958.
1958 is your guess. Norlan, over or under the first time the tour was broadcast on TV?
I'm going to say under.
Under is correct. It was 1948, 10 years before. 10 years before.
1948.
All right, I got 4 more questions here. We are BSP, you have 2 points. Norlan, you have 1. Norlan, this one is for you. What is the average distance of the tour across all 21 stages? So there's an average distance that the tour usually hits over 21 stages.
What? Yeah, give me the crazy one.
That's
all right. An
An
Hold on,
average.
I have to do some arithmetic. Just
Okay, all right. He's thinking it out a little bit. He's got his pen. He's gonna write down some math. 21
let's just.
stages.
I got a calculator.
You got a guess?
I got to guess. Hold on. I just got to.
Oh no, you're fine. You're good. Oh, he's getting his calculator out. I like this. He's really thinking about it. Could have easily just like thrown a goofy number out there, but no, he's taking his time. He's doing a little bit of math. Is that a Texas Instrument calculator you just pulled out, dude?
Yeah, you like that? Cool,
This is wild. This guy just pulled out the same calculator I had in third grade. And
yeah, funny you should say that. So this was actually sold to me at a yard sale that happened at Cortland Club. It was Laura. She's the head bartender and bar manager there. This was her calculator from elementary school. So I said I would use it to do salon numbers.
And he's using it, folks. He's using it on the podcast. A real calculator. He did not lie. I love it.
So you said how much kilometers in total?
Yeah, how many kilometers are they covering in average around the 21st stage, right? You don't have to be exact because Brian is going to say over or under, but what do you think?
4,444.
4,444. So 4,444 kilometers. That's your guess.
Yeah. Take a crack at that, Brian.
Brian, what do you think? Over or under?
Under.
It is under. It's 3,500 kilometers. About 3,500 kilometers.
I actually thought it was going to be even closer.
Threw me off. Duh. Rest days and I guess split stages are always kind of shorter too.
Yeah.
Rest days. What? How many? No, never mind.
Okay. Brian, you're going to guess first on this one. Which year did the first tour include a mountain stage?
Oh, I don't know. This would be a full wild guess. 1935.
1935. Norlan, over or under the first mountain stage? 1935.
I'm gonna say under, and I'm gonna guess 1905.
It is under. And it is 1910 was the first year, 1910.
Because you figured if it started in 1903, there's no way they were just like 30 years later.
Yeah.
That'd be boring. Come on.
All right, so we are 5 questions in. I have 2 more questions left. It is a 3-2 BSP with a slight lead. We're going to start with you, Norlan, here on this one. So what is the smallest winning margin in Tour de France history? Right, so we know right now Pog has about 3 minutes lead on Jonas. What is the smallest amount of time someone has won by in the tour?
Oh, man. I feel like someone blew it on the last day during a TT. I don't know why that comes to mind. But how about let's say 9 seconds?
9
That's my favorite
seconds.
number.
Brian, over or under 9 seconds?
Over.
It is under. It is 8 seconds.
8 seconds.
8 seconds. The legend himself, Greg LeMond, beat Laurent Fignon on the last stage of the 1989 tour. And he famously was the first time an aero helmet was ever worn in a time trial.
Whoa.
And Fignon, a Frenchman, balder than I am, but with a long ponytail. And he had a ponytail and no helmet. And 8 seconds.
I forgot.
Was that the first time that? No, that hasn't. People blew it on the last day of the TT many times, right?
People have blown it, but that's the closest it has come, right? Because even recently, Primoz blew it to Pog in the tour a couple years back. And I mean, you could say Garrett blew it to Primoz last year in the Vuelta.
Let's go. We're tied.
Man, that's
we're
wild.
All tied up.
I forgot it was that tight. I know that Greg LeMond came back and beat him on that last day, but I forgot it was that.
Okay, so for the very last question, we're going to switch it up just a little bit because you both have gotten the first guess. You both have gotten to do the over-under in equal amount of time. So for the 7th question, I'm going to ask you both to guess a year, and whoever comes closest wins. It's not closest with going over; it's just whoever comes closest, right?
Okay.
So if you have something to write this down on, that might be helpful. Or Brian, if you want to text me, if you have your phone, so that we're not influencing each other's guesses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want you both to like submit a year so we're not influencing each other's guesses, if that makes sense.
All right, private text.
It can be a private text.
Not in the group chat.
Sure. Yeah.
So Norlan and I gotta send our answers in.
Yeah, you can both please send your answers in to me. That'd be great.
Okay.
So the question, the seventh and final question of this high stakes Tour de France Rest Day 2 trivia game here on the It's Just a Hill Cycling podcast. What year was the first individual time trial held at the Tour?
What do you mean? The first year it was held?
The first time there was an individual time trial at the Tour, what year was the first ITT stage? All right, they're looking at their answer. I mean, they're getting ready. I'm looking at my phone. They're really thinking about it. Brian has submitted his answer.
Wild guess.
He just threw a number out there, a 4-digit number that is a year. Imagine if it was a 3-digit number. 732. Brian.
AD, after. Oh, man, the first year.
The first
that they did ITT. Oh, you know what?
Norlan's a real tech head. He had a calculator earlier. Now he's texting me on his watch.
Well, I mean, the phone, that's what I'm using.
Oh, the phone. Right. Sorry.
You're a real tech head. You know that?
Yeah, you're a real tech head, Norlan.
Tech head kid. Oh, I didn't send. I'm old.
Okay, so here we go. Norlan has submitted his guess. The first guess that was submitted was by BSP. He guessed 1912. Wow. And Norlan, his guess was 1960. So you're not going to believe that this is quite close. You both, the right answer is in the middle.
Okay.
It is 1934. So Brian is 22 years off and Norlan is 26 years off. Brian,
oh my God. It's 54.
Wow.
You win by less than half a decade. Wow. Cutting razor thin margins here.
Wow. But you want to know my thing?
That's why minimal gains are still gains, because razor thin margins will still get you the win.
My thinking behind it was, for some reason, when did they come out with the TT bike?
So that's
you know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, they didn't have that. Did they have that?
That's Greg LeMond, dude. Greg LeMond introduced the tri-bars.
Okay. And what year was that?
That was 1989. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, another interest.
Can I ask further about that?
Yeah.
Was that the year that he won the TT to beat Fignon?
Yes, that was also the first time anyone's ever used tri-bars. I'm 99% sure.
And was that because which win was that for Greg LeMond? Because didn't he win 3 times?
So that was the win that he got after he got shot by a shotgun, right? So he won twice in like the early 80s and then was like in a hunting accident with a friend, and they didn't really think he would ever cycle again.
Friend or like a brother-in-law.
Yeah, brother-in-law, something, a close friend. Like it wasn't, it was an accident, right?
Yeah.
He was just like out hunting with a buddy or, a close friend or something. Yeah. And he was shot, and yeah, that was the one that he came. And then I think he won 4 times, if I'm not mistaken.
Was it 4?
I think he won again in 1990.
And Fignon.
Yeah.
That was his last name, right?
Laurent Fignon.
He had apparently had like a massive saddle sore.
Really?
By that stage in the Tour. Yeah. And it like totally screwed him up.
He did win the Tour 3 times. He won in 86, 89, and 90. So he won in 86, then he got hurt, then he came back and won twice.
89, 90.
Yeah. Also, stage 21 of the 1934 Tour, right? That was the one with the individual time trial. That was also a split stage. So they don't do this anymore. But this was the first time there was ever a split stage. During the day, they did a regular road stage, a little bit shorter. And in the evening, they did the TT.
Wow.
That's lit.
So I think that rules. That's like really cool. They haven't done that in a while. I'm pretty sure they did that when I was watching it as a kid, like around the Lance-ish era.
Oh.
But I don't think they've done that in quite some time.
Bring that back.
It'd be cool if that came back. Yeah, I agree.
That's crazy.
All right, guys, that was a lot of fun. Anything else that we're looking forward to? Norlan practicing his TT position, trying to
But
look
he
like
cheated.
Remco.
He was the only one who had good. And I'm like, yeah, dude, you got it. Like, you can the whole thing, you can have it. That's kind of crazy.
It is kind
I
of crazy.
think it is crazy
It is crazy. Yeah.
with the way everything's governed now. Like
Right.
to know that he did that for the first
Yeah.
time and he was the only one that did it. It's amazing they didn't take it away from him.
Just like,
Right.
oh, cool, man. Cool,
Because
buddy.
the UCI would be like, you need to submit the blueprints to those before you show up on the start
Oh my
line.
God.
All right. So personally, I hope the race stays relatively close. I think Remco, we haven't really talked about Remco a lot. He's having a great friggin' tour. His interviews are great after the race. I'm just, I think it's as much as Pog might be sort of running away with it. And even though Primoz did sort of crash out halfway through, right? We're getting a tour with all these big names. Remco's on form. Carlos Rodriguez is close there, right? We got Jorgensen in the top 10 still, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, it's been great. Anything you guys are looking forward to in the next sort of last week of the tour?
I want. Oh, go for it, Brian.
I was going to say that if Jonas falls a little bit more behind and then it becomes clear that he's not going to catch up to Tade, then maybe Jorgensen or probably Jorgensen, someone from Visma or whatever can maybe go for a stage potentially on. There's like one or two the hilly days. Maybe he could take it on that day, or at least have like a good exciting day.
Yeah, I said that I thought Jorg was in 10th. He's not. He's in 12th. And as you say that, I would love to see a 3-man breakaway of the guys who are in 11th, 12th, and 13th. So that's Felix Gall, Matteo Jorgensen, and Ben Healy. Let's see them up the road. They're both on all three of them are on like 20 to 30 minutes. And that would be really fun. I do think that we're going to get more fun breakaways now.
Yeah.
Because UAE has such a lead. I still think Pog will try to get one more stage, which will put him at 15, I think, of all time.
I think, if not more than one. I mean, because how many mountain stages do we have left? Like 3?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there are 3 mountain stages left.
I'm saying he'd probably get 2 of them.
No, you're right. Yeah. So stage, 16 through 21, and then we get the big TT on the last day. He could win that stage too if Remco doesn't win it, or if Jonas doesn't win it, right? But yeah, a lot of fun. Thank you guys.
What was Norlan going to say for?
What is it?
What were you going to say?
Excited about?
Man, give the breakaway a chance and not fall. My God, I feel so bad for these guys. Carapaz today, man, he was just lighting it up, and then it just like looks over and it's just like, and that's it. It's over. So I'm looking forward to more different stage winners and like letting the breakaway have some fun. Like you said, maybe the 12th, 13th, 14th, whoever it is. But I think it's so demoralizing. Like 80% of the stage, like the breakaway is like, we got it. And then out of nowhere, it's just like always brought back.
But like the GC battle needs to be, or at least between the top 3, needs to be a little bit further in the bag.
Yeah,
before that happens.
Yeah.
Carapaz up the road. Hindley kind of cracked a little bit early today. Lawrence DePlus looked pretty good too. He's on 40 minutes. I'd love to see him go up the road. I've been really enjoying watching him. He's really fun on Garrett Thomas's podcast when he comes on.
And Johannessen's come back today when he met up with the break too. That was impressive.
Yes,
that was a big fight.
He's been so exciting. And it was interesting to see Jonas in polka dots.
That's right. They said today was the first day he's ever been in polka dots.
Yep. Yeah. So that's interesting.
Worn polka dots.
Right. Because technically Pog, he's just keeping it warm for Pog, right? Yeah.
Which I did find it a little bit weird when not Jonas, but when Abrahamson, even though when he was in second, but he was still wearing the polka dots, and he had all the polka dot stuff, even the polka dot cube logo Yeah. On his bike, and it was just like, I know
But
that
isn't
you
that
had
what
it. You had it for a while, but you don't technically have it now. So
Yeah, no, technically
should you
Pog
still
had it.
have all of that on you, or just wear the polka dot jersey because you have to?
Right.
But what happens if the person wins the tour? Like they don't wear they technically win both jerseys, or do they give it
Yeah,
to somebody?
technically they win both jerseys. Actually, the last time Pog won, he won the yellow, the polka dot, and the white jersey.
Wow.
The last time he won, because he was like, this is the first year he has not been white jersey eligible.
And actually, while we're talking about this, I'm glad they said it in the broadcast. I didn't realize that. I think it was last year when Jonas won.
Yep.
Jonas did not also win.
Oh, really?
No.
Did Pog?
Now I'm forgetting. It was not Pog. Forgetting now who it was. But but Jonas did not win polka dot.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was like, I didn't even know that.
Well, you can go to other podcasts for the hard facts, right? We're just here to have fun, play some trivia, talk shit about Cav, and thank you guys. Maybe we can do this one more time when the tour wraps up in just about a week or so. And so a lot of fun. And who sings that song one more time?
One more. Daft Punk.
That's a Daft Punk song? Damn, dude, they're legendary.
What?
Bangers.
You mean the we're gonna celebrate?
Yeah, that's Daft Punk, man, dude.
It's not. The sample isn't them, but
yeah, but the banger's them.
Yeah, the bangers.
Oh, I see what you're saying. The banger's there.
The disco song ain't them, but the banger's them.
Oh my god!
All right, thanks everyone.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Norlan.
Bye.
Bibbidi bobbidi boo. Oh
great.
my god.
We are It's Just a Hill, a cycling club that promotes inclusion, judgment-free, with no gatekeepers. Focused on creating content from behind the handlebars to in the studio, It's Just a Hill is producing videos and podcasts to spread the message that cycling is for everyone. We are focused on reminding everyone that riding your bike can help you overcome any obstacle, because after all, it's just a hill.
Decaf left, regular right. Decaf left, regular right. It's very challenging work.